Yesterday we discussed that Sukadeva Goswami, after answering the 4 questions to Parikshit Maharaj, indicating that attaining the lotus feet of Lord Krishna is the highest perfection. The means is sadhana bhakti, and the different angas of sadhana bhakti is Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam. And while doing that, one should avoid doing the material Shravanam, material Kirtanam, material Smaranam. What to do, what not to do. Like that, all the 4 indicated. And by the way, he also indicated that by the practice of Sakama Karma, one may go to Sarga. By the practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga, one may attain liberation. But it is only by the practice of Bhakti. In addition to attaining these temporary goals, one will also attain Prema. That is the superior position of Bhakti. So then Sukadeva Goswami says, Parikshit Maharaj says that, my dear sir, so Bhakti means you are saying so many things, but please tell me what I am supposed to do. So my dear king, you do Shravanam. Then Sukadeva Goswami stopped in one sense, establishing the superior position of Bhakti in comparison to Devata worship, also established and stopped. Then the sages are asking, Arey, aise kaise ho sakta hai? Sukadeva Goswami is a great wonderful devotee, and Parikshit Maharaj is a great wonderful devotee. And Sukadeva Goswami indicated Parikshit Maharaj that he should hear Bhagavatam. So there must have been further discussion. So please tell, if you don't hear Bhagavatam, every rise and setting of the sun will deplete our lifespan. Ayur arati vaipumsham udyam astav chayannasav. Except for those people who are engaged in devotional service, who are engaged in hearing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, their lifespan is not depleted by sun. Tasyarte yat kshanonita uttama shloka vartaya. Only those people who are engaged in uttama shloka varta. There are how many news channels now? You are at home, na? कितना न्यूज चैनल है प्रभु जी टीवी में? आउटसाइड कितना न्यूज़पेपर थे?
पता नहीं प्रभु।
सब नंबर बता दो. Approximately 200, 300, 500.
Maybe 200, 300.
Within India only.
300.
Only in Telugu. How many news channels? How many newspapers?
20.
Yeah, देखो. So 20 different varieties of news channels are there, newspapers are there for a person to be engaged throughout the day. But he says that Uttama Shloka Vartaya. But those people who are engaged in the discussion of Uttama Shlokas Vartas, the news of Uttama Shloka, their lifespan is not depleted by sun. So that is the understanding. Then, now they are going to say that in order to inspire Suta Goswami, they are going to say that without engaging ourselves in bhakti, our existence is of no use. As some of you quoted yesterday, Narada Bhakti Sutra, the definition of bhakti is Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirvanam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchate. Bhakti will manifest when we engage all our senses in service of the Supreme Lord. If the senses are not engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, it is simply a wasted endeavor. That is what is indicated in the upcoming verses. Tarava kimna jivanti, bhastra kimna shvasantuta, nakadanti namedanti, kim grame pashavo pare.
Do not the trees live long life? Do not the bellows breathe? Do not the village animals and animal life feed and make?
So, this is an interesting verse. Before discussing that, here you see the notes. The person whose life is not stolen away does not receive rebirth in this world. There are 2 categories of people are mentioned in the previous verse. For one category people, every sun rising and setting of the sun will take away their lifespan. But for others who are engaged in devotional service, who are engaged in hearing Krishna Katha, their lifespan is not stolen away. And they will never get rebirth in this material world. They will take birth in the spiritual world. That is understanding. Then, the person might have a question. But isn't life meant to be spent in eating, mating, and merry-making with long lifespan? Somebody might question, how can you say that only Krishna Katha, hearing only Krishna Katha? There is no other thing one should do? His life is not meant for eating, mating, and merry-making with long lifespan? Then, Suta Goswami, sages of Naimisaranya says that Do not the trees live long? Does the trees live long? Yes, no?
Yes.
So what is the use of a materialistic person having long life? Trees also having long life. They live much longer than the humans. Even they can live for hundreds of years, which a human cannot do. What is the use of having long life? Then they question. Okay, the trees may live long, but they do not breathe. They are inferior to human beings. Then the sages say, does not the bellows breathe? You may say humans are breathing, but the blacksmith bellows breathe more heavily than the human breathing. Wake up, they can city people. Blacksmith, you need to heat the iron. There is a coal, wooden coal is there. In that iron rod is kept. In order to heat that, there should be a constant air pump. The bellows like bus tire, car tire is there, na? On one side there is a small outlet, on the other side there is a small opening and closing. Open it, take the air, close it and press it. When you close it and press it, the entire air comes out in the chimney. The chimney glows fire, because of which rod gets hot, iron rod gets hot. It's basically collecting the air, closing it and pushing it. Just like you have been to hospital for BP checking. BP checking, they put the belt around your hand and the ball is pressed. Basically, when you release the ball, there is an opening at the outside, the air goes inside the ball. When you press it, the out vent will be closed. So whatever air is there, that goes into the belt above your hand, so that your hand becomes tight because of the air. Same that the bellows are like that. By pressing it, the air comes in the chimney and then the chimney fires a lot. So in that way.
Why this example is given?
That is a traditional example. अभी आप नहीं देख रहे, but traditionally वही, these are all household village activities ना.
But bellow is
See,
living being.
See, it's like, even though human being might be having long life, so what is the use of having long life but not performing bhakti? It is as good as the trees living long. Tree का कुछ फायदा है क्या? Bhakti का point of view. Just by having long life like a tree, there is no use unless until one uses the time in the devotional service. He says, no, we are breathing, trees are not breathing. Then he says, what is the use of you breathing? The bellows are breathing more heavily, but bellows breathing is not much use. The bellows breathing is not much use from the point of view of practicing bhakti. It may be useful, it is having some use to make the iron hot and make it into different shapes, that is all there. But from the point of view of bhakti, it is of no use. The bellows breathe more strongly than the humans. Then he says that, but the bellows do not eat. They may breathe, but they don't eat. Humans eat. Do not the animals eat and mate? Cow eats morning to night, and the whole night churning will be done by the cow. But how long human being can eat? Maybe morning 10 minutes, afternoon 10 minutes, even 10 minutes. You can't eat throughout the day like the animals. The animals can eat and mate abundantly, which human beings don't have any capacity. They can eat more than the humans. Apara indicates animals in human form. Those people who live life just for the sake of eating, just for the sake of breathing, just for the sake of living a long life, they are no different from animals, blacksmith bellows, and the trees. There is no use of such kind of long life. There is no use of breathing. There is no use of eating and having sex. It is simply like an animal. It's like that. Then he says, no, how can you say we are animals? We are human beings. We are highly intellectually evolved human beings. Then he says, Svavidvaraho strakarai samstuta purusha pashu nayat karnapato peto jatu nama gadagraja.
This human animal, whose ear has never heard about Krishna, is praised by dogs, hogs, camels, and donkeys.
The so-called human you are glorifying is actually a Purusha Prashu, a human animal, whose ears never heard Krishna Katha. because they are only interested in hearing their own praises. But unfortunately, they are only praised by other humans who are like dogs, who are like hogs, who are like camels, who are like donkeys. A real human will never glorify an animal human. Only other animal humans only glorify a animal human. Why? Their animalistic life is to be condemned. They are glorified purposely by dogs, pigs, camels, and donkeys. Matlab, the human beings who are like dogs, who are like pigs, who are like camels, who are like donkeys. He has one person accept the qualities of us four, whereas we are incapable of taking up another animal's qualities. These four animals are saying that these human beings are so intelligent, so clever that they can actually develop the qualities of four of us. But unfortunately, we animals, we are not at all qualified to develop the qualities of other animal. The dog cannot have the qualities of pig. Pig cannot have the qualities of camel. Camel cannot have the qualities of donkey. But a human being can have the qualities of pigs, dogs, camels, and donkeys. That is the greatness of the human beings. He, being a human, can take up so many qualities of animals, and we, being animals, cannot take up even one quality of another animal. So, how do we understand that human beings are able to develop the qualities of the animals? That we can see now. Overstepping is scripture obtained by dharma. He accepts our qualities with passion. The human beings are given guidelines in the form of Vedic literatures. But ignoring the Vedic literatures, the so-called human being is only interested in developing the animalistic qualities. He is aware of the hell into which he will be born by following our qualities, whereas we are dull-witted and cannot understand anything of the future. In this way, the animals praise him in four ways. For the human beings, just by being born in India and other places, they'll know that by performing sinful activity, they'll go to hell. But still, he does not follow it. He ignores it and tries to develop animalistic qualities very ambitiously. So, what are the four animals? The quality of the dog is to become angry without reason. So, when dog belongs to one particular home, if somebody comes near to that home, the dog starts barking. That's why they written that beware of the dogs. For no reason, the dog starts barking. If somebody comes by mistakenly near to that house, they starts barking without any reason. That is due to possessiveness. The pig's quality is to eat impure items. Pig only eats in the gutter. It does not eat even if you provide something nice, wonderful. It only wants to eat in the gutter. The quality of the camel is carrying heavy burden. The nature of the camel is to carry heavy loads. And donkey's quality is to get kicked by his mate. The male donkey goes after the female donkey, but while he's trying to mate with the female donkey hits on the face of the male donkey. Still being hit by the female donkey, it still goes after that female donkey. These four qualities can be seen in the human beings. Prabhupada actually elaborately explains. Even the human beings also start saying that this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Somebody comes to your place, they always say that this is mine, how can you come? Trespassers are prosecuted. Something like that. And the pig's quality is to eat impure items. Even the human beings are also, they are only interested in eating impure items. They are not interested in eating vegetarian and offered food to Krishna. Instead, they eat all restaurant foods, which is 3 days back food, something like that. So many impure items. Prabhupada writes about the liquor, meat eating and all. Meat is an impure item. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said as amedyam, untouchable. Meat is untouchable. Why? Because when our family, somebody dies, after performing the cremation rites, we take bath immediately. But after the animal is killed forcefully and the meat is brought to home and cooked and ate very happily. Though it is untouchable item, it is eaten like that. The quality of the camel is to carry the heavy burdens, and human beings also carry heavy burdens many times for no reason. And donkey's quality is to get kicked by the opposite sex. That is what we see in the human race also. Lord Krishna has never gone in that person's ear. those people who would like to develop the qualities of these four category of animals and who is glorified by such kind of animals, Lord Krishna never interested in entering them as Paramatma. Gadagraja means he who appears in front of the sickness as its enemy. Thus, he will appear and destroy the sickness of anger and other bad qualities of the animalistic men. It's like that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Gadagraja means this is the meaning, Prabhuji. It's not like he is a brother of someone, not like that.
Gada also is one of the sons of Vasudeva. He is also elder brother of Gada. That is also there. But here, according to the context, Gadagraja is he who appears in front of the sickness as its enemy. Even a person with material qualities, but if they hear Krishna Katha, the Lord will enter into their heart and destroy all the material qualities. But unfortunately, the people with the material qualities will never hear Krishna Katha. So it is like that.
Can you again tell that project? Whose name is Gada? Vasudev?
Vasudev's son. Vasudev had many wives, and one son among the many is Gada.
He's a very famous project because Krishna is called as Gadagraja in multiple locations. Even gopis also address Krishna as Gadagraja.
Yeah, maybe. He might be famous. I don't know, but he might be famous.
Okay.
Then the sages further continue. Bile batoru krama vikramanye na shrunvata karna pute narasya jivasati dardurikeva suta na chopagayati urugaya gata.
Suta, how lamentable. The ears of a person who has not heard the glories of the Lord are like snake holes. The tongue which does not chant the glories of the Lord is as offensive as a frog's tongue.
Another graphic example. After the whole person has been described, in the previous 2 verses, the complete person has been described. Now, the parts of his body are criticized in 5 verses. Oh, how lamentable. The ears of a man who has not heard the glories of the Lord are holes fit for the snakes to live. Have you been to agricultural field any time?
Recently, Prabhuji, now.
In the agricultural field, generally rats make hole and they reside in the hole. And the snake will come and eat the rat and the snake will reside in that hole. Snake will never work hard to make a hole. Rats make the hole and snakes will come and reside there after eating it. Similarly, the people whose ears are not hearing Krishna Katha, but hearing so many other material topics are like the rats. They are busy making the hole. But eventually, the snake of time will come and kill them one day. So, the ears are like the holes fit for the snakes. Basically, the rats making hole is like the materialistic people hearing material topics. And snake coming is like suddenly the death time will come and destroy that person. Or another meaning is the snake coming into that hole means the people when they are hearing the material talk, they want to hear the criticism of others. Snake represents envy. Snake represents envy. So people who are interested in material topics, they mainly hear the criticism of others out of envy of other people. They don't want to hear the glorification of other people. They might want to hear their own glorification, but not the glorification of others. They only want to hear about the faults of others. So like that, the snake represents that enmity or faults. It's like that. And then the tongue and the other part. The tongue which does not chant the glories of the Lord is offensive, like that of a frog. Or it is like an unchaste woman which destroy all one's piety. So basically, frog. In the rainy season, we see that the frogs start barking. Ba, 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 ba. That sound will attract the snakes, and snake will come and eat it up. Similarly, those people are interested in only material talk. One day that death will come and eat them up. So something like that. Or their tongue is like the unchaste woman, which will destroy the piety of a sane man. When unchaste woman catches up a sane man, the sane man has to lose his culture and religion and everything. That person also becomes unchaste to the religion. It's like that. Though a person becomes successful by performing bhakti with even one of these limbs, they are criticized since they are otherwise useless. Even a person attains perfection either just by hearing, just by chanting, just by remembering, etc. That is fine. But if one does not attain perfection by practicing bhakti, the different body limbs of the human being are supposed to be criticized. Otherwise, what is the use of having all the wonderful senses, mind, and intelligence if they are not engaged in devotional service? It's like that. So, ears are over, tongue is over. Now, head and the hands. Bhara parampata kirita justam api uttamangam nanamen mukundam savau karauno kurute saparyam harer lasatkanchana kankanava.
The head decorated with turban or the crown, which does not bow to Krishna, is simply a heavy weight which will fix the person in samsara. The hands which do not make offerings to the Lord, though decorated with glittering gold bracelets, are those of a dead person.
Yeah. Here you see, outside society today you may not see so much, but in the past, this is the famous thing that people used to have nice turbans. The topmost limb, the head, is simply a burden decorated with crown and turban. It drowns him in the ocean of samsara. The people who are only interested in their own self-aggrandizement, self-glory, by decorating themselves with a very nice turban and crown, etc., etc., that decoration simply drown them. They will never award them perfection. So it is like that. Are you following, na? So people in general, for the sake of their name and fame, they decorate themselves with a nice turban, nice crown, or they are placed in a nice position, topmost position, and they are glorified by everyone. But if that position is not allowing them to go back to Godhead, if that position is simply giving them pride, as a result of that pride, one does not take bhakti seriously. They are simply drowned in the ocean of samsara. What is the use of having that turban, heavy turban on the head, which will be like a stone, heavy stone, which will drown a man in the ocean? So in that way. And the hands of those of a dead person, the hands of a person who does not engage the hands in service of Supreme Lord are like the hands of a dead body. The hands of a dead body, what is the use? The Devatas and Pitrus do not accept water given by that person because he is impure. The Devatas and the Pitrus never accept the Shraddha rites offered by the hands of a dead body. The dead body itself is impure, so what can be done with the dead or hands of the dead body? So like that. Their heavy turban.
Raji, your voice is lowered now.
No, your mobile has been taken away.
Oh, what happened?
वो कॉल आ रहा था, दूसरा कॉल आ रहा था, उसको काट रहा था.
Okay.
Their heavy burdens and crowns will drown them in samsara because of not bowing down to the Lord. Their hands which do not make offering to the Lord are like the hands of a dead body. If the hands are not engaged in serving the Lord, they are like the hands of a dead body. If the head is not bowed in front of the deities, it's the head like a dead stone, which will drown a person into the ocean of mental existence. Next, the eyes and the legs. Barahaite te nayanena ranam lingani vishnurna nirikshito ye padau nunam tau drumajanma bhajo kshetrani nanu rajato hariryo.
Men's eyes, which do not see the form of the Lord, are like the eyes on the peacock feather, and they fall on the thorny field of samsara. Men's feet, which do not walk to the places of the Lord, are like the bases of trees, weakened by the excess of deliverance.
The eyes which do not see the deity form of Lord Vishnu are like the eyes on the peacock feather. Those persons whose eyes do not see the path of deliverance for the self fall into the thorn field of samsara, just like the eyes on the peacock feather does not show the way. So a peacock has huge feather. That feather has so many eyes. When the peacock is walking, the eyes on the feather of any use. The peacock wide opens its feather and starts running in the midst of forest trees. What will happen to it? No, they will not fall. The peacock will struck in the thorny bushes. Forest means there will be so many thorny bushes, not a clear path. If the peacock feather is wide open, it cannot go freely. The peacock body may be small, but the feathers are very big. It will struck. Though it has so many hundreds of eyes, but none of the eyes are of any use. Similarly, the eyes of a human being, which never sees the form of the Supreme Lord in the deity form, those eyes are also like the eyes on the peacock feathers. Those eyes, just like the peacock feather eyes, making the peacock to be struck in the thorny bushes, the human eyes, which do not see the deity form, make a person struck in the material world. That does not allow the person to go to spiritual world. And similarly, the feet of men who do not go to the holy places are born as trees. The feet also very strong, stout and long. The tree trunks are also strong, stout and long. Just like a person's legs which do not go to holy pilgrimage places, those legs are like the tree trunks, which are eventually cut by the Yamadutas. So basically the human being is killed, his life is taken out by Yamadutas. And the tree trunks are cut by somebody else. When they cut the tree trunks, that is the death of the trees. So in that way. So such kind of feet are similar to the base of the trees, cut by the axe of Yamadutas. So that verse was about eyes and feet. The next verse is about breathing. So that is mentioned in the next verse. Jivan chavo bhagavatang renum najatu martyo bilabat najatu martyo bilabete yastu Sri Vishnu Padya Manujasrutaiva Shvasanchavo Yastuna Veda Gandham.
That person who does not smear his body with the dust from the devotee's feet is a ghost, whose offerings are not accepted by the Lord. That person who does not smell the fragrance of the tulsi on Vishnu's feet is similarly a ghost.
After criticism of the various parts of the body, there is no criticism of the all of them together again, the whole body criticism. The person who does not touch the dust of the devotee's feet, who does not smear the dust on his body, is like a living corpse, living dead, a departed soul, Shava, who frightens the devotees by his presence. Here, not touching the dust of the devotee's feet means not following the instructions of the acharyas and gurus. It's like that. This means that the Lord does not accept the service from his hands. The person who is not eager to smell the fragrance of tulasi attached to the Lord's lotus feet is also a breathing corpse. So like that. The people who are not interested in serving the deity and smelling the fragrance of the deity's flowers and tulasi, or those who not touch the feet of the deity and do not serve the temple, etc. They are like dead bodies. In that way. Finally, this is all about the gross body and senses. Finally, about the subtle body, mind, intelligence, ego, and chetana. उसके लिए क्या? तदश्मशारं हृदयं बतेदं यद्ग्रह्यमानैर्हरिणाम ध्येये न विक्रियेत यदो विकारो नेत्रे जलं गातुर्विन्दि हर्षम्.
Alas, that heart which does not transform on hearing the names of the Lord, even though he shows tears in the eyes and hair standing on it, is made of iron.
Here, see, the external limbs individually and collectively have been criticized. Now, the internal nature of the person, indifference to the Lord's glories, is criticized. That heart, which does not transform by the many names of the Lord being chanted, is iron. Even a person, in spite of hearing so much Krishna Katha, so many chanting of the holy names of the Lord, if the heart is not melting with full of emotions, then that person is like a iron heart. The body hair should stand up. So what should happen when we hear Krishna Katha, when we sing Krishna Katha? The body hair should stand up. Sandarbha says, if one continuously chants, but the hairs does not melt, but the heart does not melt, that is a sign of Namaparada. However, it should not be said that simply by tears and hair standing on end, that a person has melted heart. Sometimes bhavuk hoke bhi, a person starts crying by hearing something which is connected to that person. But when a person is freed from all the apanavardas, by hearing Krishna Katha, by chanting the holy names of the Lord, the heart becomes melted. The heart which does not transform with chanting, but still has tears in the eyes and hairs standing on end, should be considered an iron heart. So like that. So when the heart does not melt and other symptoms of bhava does not manifest, that person should be considered as a heart with iron rod. So, finally, Suta Goswami is saying that, the sages are Naimisaranya saying that, Atabideyenga manonukalpam manonukulam prabhashase bhagavata pradhana yadaha vayya sakiratma vidya visharado nrupatim sadhu prushta.
O sage, please tell us, you should speak according to your inclination. What the greatest of devotees, Shukadev, expert in the knowledge of the Lord, spoke to the king on being asked.
Yeah, then they are asking that. So, my dear sage, my dear Suta Goswami, please tell us. Being inquired by Parikshit Maharaj, what did Sukadeva Goswami spoke? Therefore, because of this, please tell us. If you don't hear Krishna Katha, our body limbs are good for nothing. The legs are like the tree trunks, hands are like the hands of a dead body, and the head is like a huge stone. And then breathing is like the breathing, and if one does not bellow breathing, and then our long life is like that of a trees. Eyes are like the peacock plumes. The tongue is like the frog. Ears are like the snake holes made by the rats. Something like that. What should I tell you? Suta Goswami asked. According to your inclination, you speak what Sukadeva said. There is nothing else to say. Therefore, please speak according to your inclination about the further conversation that happened between Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Any questions?
No, Prabhuji, from my side.
Any questions from your side? So with this,
now the conversation is happening between
Suta Goswami and Satyashiva Naimisaranya. So Shaunaka Rishi is speaking on behalf of sages of Naimisaranya. He's telling if you don't hear Krishna Katha, our life is of all all these things. There's of no use.
परीक्षित महाराज के क्वेश्चन का आंसर दे दिया.
हाँ हो गया ना. 12th verse से that conversation is over.
Conversation. Now sages wanting more. Then
they want to hear more that what did they both of them discuss. So everything will happen quickly now. So it's like that. So now, starting from the next chapter, Sukadeva Goswami is begins to respond to. Parikshit Maharaj will make few more questions, and Sukadeva Goswami will answer those questions.